Now, we don't need to be apologizing for trying to survive, for trying to use natural resources in a way that would ensure our survival, for using our God-given intellect and artistry and imagination to create a world more hospitable to our species. It's just that we've come to a point where we need to use our intellect, our industriousness, and our imagination and take it to the next level. Einstein said, "We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them." To be sure, industrialization brought many positive advances for life on Earth. But we've reached a tipping point now, and it's time for a change. An updated model of growth that more closely resembles that of the ant or of the cherry tree, but that is uniquely human. So the bad news is we've got to change our ways of thinking somewhat. We've got to let our new awareness inform everything we do, from the way we design buildings, to the way we harness energy, to the way we use and treat water, to the materials we use to manufacture goods. The good news is that there is no dearth of solutions if we are willing to wrap our minds around them. Our industries and our imagination are up to the task. In 1999, Ford completely redesigned their 85-year-old River Rouge factory complex, considered an icon of the first industrial revolution. They installed green roofs on their buildings and created a whole marsh ecosystem around the factory that naturally purified water on its way to the river. Nike, the shoemaker, has experimented with putting in place systems to retrieve their products and recycle them in ways that return healthy nutrients to the environment while reusing those that cannot be returned. And there are exciting developments in alternative energies. It's expected that within 8 years, solar power will cost less than electricity generated by conventional power plants. Some more developments. A week and a half ago, the Associated Press reported that Hawaii will be the first state to create a network of electric car charging stations statewide. JEA recently announced that they have finished construction on a commercial-scale landfill gas to energy plant, which will capture the greenhouse gases emitted at the Trail Ridge landfill off of 301 and transform them into energy for JEA customers, effectively turning waste into assets. And this October, Governor Charlie Crist's Energy and Climate Action Team released a plan that made the connection between economic growth and sustainability explicit, with policy recommendations they said would drop our state's emissions and save us money. Their executive summary says that they plan to position Florida's green tech sector as an economic engine for growth. As these examples show, the great innovators, architects, and leaders of our generation have the capacity to build our society in ways that will allow us to continue to grow while replenishing the natural system of which we are a part. But it's not only industry that must change and government that must regulate the way we treat our environment. There is a third piece to the puzzle: us, individuals. We must be aware of the need for change, and we must want the changes. The examples show that industry and government are heading in a better direction. And I believe that we are getting closer to a critical mass of individuals who realize the importance of sustainability. But I'm also convinced that we're not there yet. My sense is that the ideas I've shared with you today about the interconnectedness of our natural environment, the need to live in waves that replenish the system, and the exciting retooling that is happening right now, my sense is that that information is not widely known yet. There are right now 6.7 billion people on this earth. By the year 2050, our population will be 9.2 billion according to UN projections. In Jacksonville, our population is projected to increase 26% by the year 2030. That's a lot of people to reach. The sheer number of people, combined with the scale of our environmental problems, means that we must institute a broad educational outreach program. The idea of an educational program that reaches so many people is quite overwhelming. And when you consider that especially when you consider that the environmental problems we face need to be addressed now. I believe that the heart of these educational efforts needs to be at the local level. I didn't learn what I know from television. Aside from knowing that I had to change my light bulbs and drive a hybrid car, which I don't yet, but we plan to after we get our car paid off, I didn't really understand how else I could contribute to fixing the problem. I didn't understand the extent of the environmental problems we face, or the change in thinking required. I didn't know about the technologies that are coming, or which books I could read to get a better understanding. I learned that information from people in my community here in Jacksonville. Real people planted the seeds that got my wheels turning. I had no idea when I started on my journey to try to do better how much work was already being done on the ground here in Jacksonville. Did you know that last summer, Mayor Payton signed the U.S. Mayor's Climate Protection Agreement, committing our city to strive to reduce greenhouse gas emissions levels? Did you know about the beach's green market that takes place every Saturday in Jarbo Park in Neptune Beach, where you can go and get locally grown produce, much of it organic? Did you know that this September, Mayor Payton signed an executive order creating an Office of Sustainability Initiatives? It will be responsible for overseeing the implementation of projects like making all city buildings LEED certified, implementing wise water use policies in city buildings and pools, and using recycled and toxic-free products. Did you know that we have a designated green sanctuary here in Jacksonville? And did you know that the Duval County IFAS Extension program has an education center on the west side where you can learn things like how to make a rain barrel to capture and reuse water, how to start a container vegetable garden, and how to landscape and irrigate your yard in a way that replenishes the environment. These efforts are exciting, but they need for us to provide the increase. I believe it comes down to education and information sharing. The changes that we need will follow. Our major goal with Sustainable Jacksonville is to facilitate the information sharing that needs to occur so that the rest of us can build on efforts already underway and learn more about the principles of sustainability. Education is what has been a critical catalyst to so many upgrades in our society. I think of how education has improved the way we see people with disabilities, the ways we address poverty, nutrition, and civil rights. I think to our own community's success with educational programs like Buddy Check 12, MAD, and Rally for the River. Gutenberg's printing press opened up a whole new world for the masses. 340 years later, Thomas Paine used that technology to share his political pamphlet, Common Sense, on a wide scale, which helped ordinary citizens understand the need for democracy, which was at that time a radical idea. The television showed us images of world hunger and sent teams across our country a powerful message of what drugs can do to your brain.